In a previous video, we were running this tutorialspoint.com Linux terminal, and we had created a file. We had run the date command and redirected its output into a file, today.txt. So I've sort of quickly recreated that here. We're at tutorialspoint.com. I've run the date command and redirected it into a today.txt. Now we'll sort of continue on with this exercise of just sort of getting our feet wet with a Linux command line. The next command it wants us to run is mkdir and then a name. So the command is mkdir, and then its argument is the name of the directory you want to make. And I'm making just a silly name of a folder, and then entering that. And so it has mkdir is to make a directory. So we've made a directory, a folder, and then it's saying this is a variation on the ls command, where it's ls minus al. So I think we showed the a option before, but now we're adding more of them. And so we're adding the S and the A and the I and the L, all these options for the list command. It gives us quite a few things here, all those permission structures. Okay, so it gives us the dot, the double dot, the file, and this new folder. So dot refers to whatever directory we're in, the current working directory. Dot dot refers to its parent. A folder, on the other hand, is its child, a subdirectory or a subfolder. And then today.txt is a file. So you can see within the permissions, the first thing is DDD for directory, whereas the file today.txt is blank there. So we're seeing a distinction. Sometimes they in fancier command lines you may see the distinction in colors or something like that. But here we can see it here in all these options in the minus sale option. I like the sale. It's easy to remember the word sale, and it gives you the, when it was the date of the file or folder, and the who owns it and who's the group and what are the permissions and what is the size. So it gives a lot of information, more than just the ls command, and it's sort of easy for me to remember anyway. Okay, so we have created a folder. We can see that it's a folder called a folder. We can see that it is and different from the file because of this D within this permission string here. And so that's that. Okay, now it's saying run make a directory and make with quotes a directory and asking us the difference. So let's say make dir a directory, and then let's run ls minus sale. And now we see there's the dot, the double dot. There is a directory called A. There's our old A folder. There's a directory called directory. There's a file called today.txt. So when we said make dir A space directory, it took it as a command asking us to make two directories, one called A and one called directory. So make dir can take multiple arguments separated by some delimiter, we would say, and it accepts space as a delimiter. So it took A and directory as two different folders that we wanted to make two different directories. Whereas if we said make a dir with quotes a directory, and then ran ls minus sale. Now it gives us dot double dot a space directory. So now we have a directory which has a space in the name. Now I am against spaces and names, but it is something that we can do if we put quotes in the command. You have to understand that the command, the space means, without the quotes, the space means that it's another argument that it's going to make another directory. But with the quotes, it means that we want a space in the name. I never want a space in the name, but I'm just showing you can have a space in the name, and that's how you get it. Okay. What else can we do? So we made our first mkdir was to make a directory called a folder. Now we're going to run the cd command, and that is going to move into that folder. So cd and a folder. So now we have moved into the folder that we created. So if I do ls minus sale, I'm seeing now what's in the current working directory. The current working directory is now a folder which has nothing in it other than, again, since we have the A in there, we're seeing everything. And so we're seeing the dot and the double dot, but we don't have any files in this folder. We just made it seconds ago. Okay, so what does cd a folder mean? Cd is change directory, so we have moved into the subdirectory a folder. So that is now we have changed that. That a folder is now our current working directory. So now we're going to do echo message, and we've seen this before in a previous video. So that is going to echo message is going to put something out, and then we're going to redirect it into a file. So let's break it down first, and let's just say echo message. And that just echoes whatever we said, echo the word message. But if I say echo message, and then I can redirect it into, I forgot what I called it, thing.txt, good name, thing.txt. And now I can do ls minus sale, and I can see that I now have a file. I can do my more command. And I can see that the word message that was echoed out, that echoed out message was redirected to the file thing.txt. And when I used more, I can see its content. So that put this text into this file. Okay. Now we're going to use mkdir again, and we're going to make a subfolder. So we made a folder. Now we're in a folder, and we're going to make, and these are just fake names for the purpose of so now I have make a subfolder, and then I'm going to cd a subfolder. So I'm making a subfolder and moving into it. So that is what we did here in 17. Make a directory, which is under our other directory. So we made a folder, moved into a folder, then we made a subfolder, and we moved into a subfolder. And now down here in 18, it's asking us, while we're in a subfolder, we're going to run the command touch and then a file name. So touch is like, if the file exists, then touch will act like we've accessed the file. And if the file doesn't exist, which doesn't because we're in a subfolder that we just created, then it will make this file. So this file is not going to have any content. Again, we made to distinguish between sort of the data of the file and the metadata of the file. This file is not going to have any content, not going to have any data, but it will have metadata once we make it. Okay, so touch new file.txt. And then we can do ls minus sale, and we should be able to see that there's a file called new file, and then there are sort of sizes of things, and it has sort of zero size. There's nothing in it really. Okay. So that is what touch did. Okay. Now we're going to, again, we're in a subfolder. We're going to do CD, change the directory, but now we're going to use the dot dot. Remember, every time we did ls with a minus sale, we saw everything, and one of those things that we saw was the dot dot, which refers to the parent. So we're going to we are in a subfolder. We're going to do CD dot dot. This should change the directory to the parent. So now we should be in a folder. Let's do an ls minus sale. And do we remember what was in a folder? Um, dot and double dot. Of course, a subfolder is in folder and thing.txt. So that is the content. So we are now in folder. When we were in a subfolder and we did cd dot dot, it moved us up to the parent. Now it says if you move back into folder, a subfolder, how do you do that? Well, cd a subfolder, that's going to move us back down into the subdirectory. Let's do an ls minus sale. There's that new file that we touched previously. And so now we are back in a subfolder and we're going to do cd dot dot slash dot. And now where are we? Let's do an ls minus sale. And we have the dot, the double dot, we have the A. We're back in the original directory. We have a directory, we have a folder, we have directory, we have today.txt. So we're all the way back. So we were down two directories. We made a folder, then within a folder, we made a subfolder. We were in a subfolder. And then when we did cd dot dot slash dot dot, that moved us to, I'll call it, instead of the parent, I'll call it the grandparent. It moved us up two levels in the file structure. Let's go back down into the subfolder. So we want to go down two levels. I'll say CDA folder. That's one level. CDA subfolder. That's two levels. I'm two levels down. Let's do an ls minus sale. Oops, I hit caps lock by mistake. And there we are with the new file that we touched. So we are two directories down. And then let's do ls dot dot slash dot dot. So we're not moving, but we are asking to list the files of the grandparent. A directory, a folder directory, today.txt. Those were the files in the grandparent of the A subfolder directory that we are currently in. Okay. And then just two different commands, but let's do them so I don't have to make another video. PS gives me the processes, and these will be sort of the processes that the current user runs. So I will say I'm the current user, but it's this 1,000 webmaster that is sort of serving as me. And so these are the folders. So we have this terminal, and that is sort of the bash more or less. And then I just ran this PS. So while I'm running PS is one of the processes. There's the PS process is running to give us this output. So those are the processes. But like we had with when we are listing things, we can have one of the options with PS with the process command is PS minus E, and that's going to be sort of like a little bit like the A option for LS. And then we see just tons of things because there are many things running, typical of any sort of operating system here. Now, I own just two of them. There were many system processes running all sorts of things and duplicate, a number of versions, Python 3, a number of, so this will be some number associated with the process. So you see various instances of the process may be running, all sorts of things. But again, so we can say, what am I running or what's all being run? Okay. And with that, this particular exercise is over. Thank you for your attention.